And for anybody if anybody walks away and says it hasn't been exhilarating, they're a liar.
I don't know what they're watching in their normal life.
Not this SI.
Not exciting.
Because it's an exciting, and I think that's what draws me more to Chalet as well, is its strategies, its plays have been cooked in isolation. It's that true reveal. It's like at the end of like a baking show where you have the surprise round, and you pull up the lid, and it's like, what have you prepared? Everyone's Chalet is their own speciality to the degree of it's had to be stamped by a region because it's only been stamped during this locked regional play period.
Yes, and BDS go back to their usual methods of banning Wamai. So I thought they were gonna go off for it for a while. They've left it open a couple of times, but it's again going to be removed. And the Valkyrie and the Nomad as well. Those two often go in tandem. That has, of course, to do with the aggression that the map brings. Now, if you say Chalet, I don't necessarily think runouts as much as I would think of Consulate, for example.
There's swings that you can do that are aggressive.
Swings.
There's plays. You're looking at Canine. You're looking at, you know, if you're feeling very bold, Library or Trophy, you can swing on, and Fireplace further super bold. But it's internal because it's sort of a struggle at some points. You have this huge corner room. It's 3 squares is your most boiled down takeaway that are connected in like an L shape, and the middle, the joining one, is a big open space in Fireplace, and that makes it a very dangerous swing around the corner there. So you almost find yourself in this like a cubic cutoff point on that corner around that top alleyway, where you're looking between the connection of box and towards the sort of, you know, it's tough to muscle your way around the corner, is I guess what I'm trying to put to words.
It's definitely going to be tough, that's for sure. And as we are going to kitchen and dining first, you are going to be seeing the vertical hole that comes through, but we also see some of these tricks we have seen before. Now, I'm not sure if you remember, and I'm not sure if it was TSM that fell for it. I think it might have been against Makers. I'm not quite sure if they played the map anymore. Either way, they wanted to go for a West main push, but at the same time, like, everybody got caught by different angles. It is not really playing out that way, and the response that was being found by the team that was then coming up against it in the next very round was to go for vertical control and was to go for Fireplace. So what you do see here is that TSM is playing with currently 2-3 players around the library, around the Fireplace side. That allows them to make sure that the weakness of said setup is not going to be able to be completely abused by attackers deciding to just completely ignore whatever setup is being brought.
Well, Alems gets in the opener, but Charla's on the cover, and suddenly on the double, they try to throw themselves into sight, and you can hear it heating up on the stage behind us as all the calls come through with 2 TSM players on the floor. They've got to very quickly reconvene and see if they can get them back up. Charla did a huge amount of work there, and if this goes TSM's way, it's his round, and so far, it's looking like it might be able to thread its way through. Bolo is gone. He was not really in a position to be got up the same way as before, but it's now the deep fire fight of this 2 versus 3 situation. A single frag grenade in the pocket of Rafal. This backline, though, has been constructed well. Geo still has the C4, and the double impacts in Merc's pocket means verticality isn't safe, regardless of the minute 20 that they have on the board.
Sheko trying to find a kill here, and for a long time it was actually a very, very good round for BDS if it wasn't for the strikebacks that happened straight away. And now they need to try and salvage whatever is left of this round. A very good drone. There is some valuable information. Now Sheko and those two are going to be locked up around the same square meter, but first he needs to find the one that is right around the corner as he somehow manages to survive all these shots, goes aggressive even once more, but he's not going to be able to find anyone. He's literally being peeked by every single corner you can imagine. Now is being circled by, and he gets taken out, and Rafal nowhere to give cover. And that means TSM find themselves in a 1-on-3 situation now.
Went very deep and just tried to bite at every single angle and ankle that was offered close. And look at the spread out from TSM. They took that first kill and have entirely spread themselves across at this entrance instead. So, That is Charla's round. Not going to kind of mix words there. He sort of found himself on the back line with the Chief dead, stuck in, got a double and hit the floor. It's one of those like dramatic cinematic war film moments where he's being shot, but he's shooting back and he hits the floor, and you see his teammates TSM running to him in slow motion to get him back up. They leave Bolo for dead.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
He's on the second story. Like
it's a 5-5 now, actually.
Yeah, it's like running over to Charla, like, Charla!
I mean, that was literally the Charla appreciation post from TSM. If we choose Bolo or Charla, they went for Charla in this case.
That was it. That double there, either side as well. That was his round, and obviously picking themselves back up. At first, they were in a bit of a tricky situation, locked in on the corner when Shaiko dug himself in, but the spread afterwards, the realization that they had 30 seconds, they had some time, and they knew where that last body was because the pressure and the grenade had come from above. A great response from TSM.
There would have been a little bit of a different timing on Shaiko trying to go for these fights there. It could have been the other way around because he missed 3 players every single time by like a millisecond. And TSM thus perfectly playing around it and able to bring it back into their favor. Taking the lead here in Chile on defense. A very valuable round. One that is going to be very helpful because it has been very rare during SI so far that we've seen 3 rounds chained up in a row by the defense on 3 different sides. 2 is being done quite regularly, but 3 is definitely something that doesn't happen often. So you do want to win your defensive rounds as early as possible to give yourself some time to build up a buffer. And as TSM is now choosing to go for their second site, have the opportunity of locking that one in, setting themselves up to do what isn't being done that much yet.
Charla with the Frost gives Alem a little bit of food for thought as he pops through the window. He is still so consistently that pace. He's the man that applies the mission and says, this is what we're going to do. Let's see if we can make it work today. And unfortunately, sometimes he finds himself scuttled by the response of TSM, as was previously locked in and denoted. Here, the pressure coming from underneath. There's one body on the bottom of blue that looks like they might rotate up background, and they're toying with the idea now that they've actually got a little bit more cover and a stretch. If Alems find themselves cut off, he could be a very easy takeaway for TSM, but they're kind of toying with the idea of how much out of shape do we want to go for one throw when we still have all of this on the board.
There's a yokai drone there that should be very well aware of the position of Alems that is just cruising through in bar, and there you have him now found. Spots are coming through, he's trying to take care of it. Not able to quite hit the shots yet, and as verticals are now being created, Alems is going to be trying to put up some pressure, but he's get peeked. It's the Chief that just runs in, gets the kill. Shaiko goes down as well. Bolo wants to secure, but he's being put under pressure here. There is plenty of members left inside the library to try and make sure that he's not going to be able to pick up Shaiko.
As I said, how out of shape did they want to go? Shaiko's going to lock it with the C4 and make sure Shaiko can't stand back up. Bolo even, and Bolo now, he's under pressure, but he drops Rafal too. The swing round the cover couldn't quite make it. The single body that's well aware in the hands of TSM. They hop through though and get lucky. The moment of madness came through. The cover on the top of the stairs sprays back but drops down. Goes for a rotation, and that means that fireplace area is still up for so much contention. So instead of focusing themselves in, they've got to try and dig through the site itself, eyes towards K9 and the corner of support and structure it might offer you, because TSM are still mobile. They've still got these bodies, they've still got those echo drones too. There's so much concern of presence.
So Mewgemmer still on that wall there, and that means BDS is not going to be allowed to open up, and as Geo now had the time to rotate all the way around, get the yokai drone in the side. It's going to be almost impossible for BDS to go for a plant right here, and it's going to be even harder to go for all these kills if you see how spread out these members of TSM are and what kind of a power positions they are currently playing. 20 seconds on the clock to trying to go for the entry, but they do know exactly where they're coming from due to those yokais.
Stacked up with 3 against 2, it's a load of space. A dead man's land, and Achieved is the first one to be added to the pile of bodies, but with only 5 seconds left, the other TSM players aren't popping their heads up. This is a round that you assume is going to go the way of these echo drones. The call comes through, the man goes into his corner, and he drops it, and Charla finds Renshiro, but somehow he's done the biggest part, but there is the pickup and the cover from Geo, almost saved. And that is an unsettling camera angle.
Just looking at the teammate there, just quickly shut off one burst, thinking that would have been the diffuser, but as he shut it out, alerted the one member left on BDS to take it out. And BD lands yet another plant, and that means he's currently on 33, I believe, throughout SI. Number 2 is Shepard on 15.
I saw the copy paste has changed.
And what has it changed into?
It's no longer CCCI plant, it's WWWI plant.
Oh, WWWI plant, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's fair to say. We can give him that title.
Yep.
It's no longer the best Goga title. It's, unfortunately for Goga, going to be the best BD now.
He did say he learned everything from Goga in the very complimentary tweets that were going on. Bride said he learned from the best.
Very nice. Wholesome. Either way, TSM are leading 0-2, and that is something you cannot take away. And BDS, they will want to make that change. 2 rounds in a row here on a map that is arguably attack-sided so far throughout this event and throughout most of the regions as well. But you're coming up against an NAL team. An NA team that is, well, just like the rest of the region, quite proficient inside of Chalet. And it's a bit of a scare if you're going to have to come up here as your decider, especially when many would have thought that Oregon should have gone the way of BDS. And they should have been able to take the lead there and potentially close it out on Coastline. We find ourselves now in a position where it is going to be TSM that have the initiative. They have the good start. They have the start that BDS wants. And let's see if they can continue building on this.
I believe one of the curiosities that we had coming into Chalet when we've talked about how it is a bit of a, you know, it's a new taste because it's been developed in isolation, is that I think for the NA region it was defender-sided statistically, and in the EU and the Latin America and APAC regions it was attacker favored. They've generally had more success as attackers. So seeing this sort of boil down and breakdown, you can, I guess, talk about how it's gone throughout the tournament itself, but you really don't have a huge mantle of intel and information to base on success. You have to take it on this round-by-round basis. BDS were close in the previous one, but it came down to a man clutching against an Echo drone that misfired. That's not something you can take a huge amount of comfort on, I think it's fair to say.
But they were in control throughout the majority of the round, TSM was. Polo able to pick up these great kills, got caught off by timing as he killed by Renchiro just going for that jump in, and almost BDS managed to bring it back. The question is, how often can it go for these clutches here? Shaiko taking a lot of damage here from the member that is dug in deep, and Merc is very well aware of the fact that there might be a man just holding the library double window, and he's trying to go for these peaks, but he's not able to swing out far enough yet because Alems is literally holding a pixel, nothing more than that. If you manage to land that shot, that would be the best shot of your career.
Well, what a time to make it. One of the biggest games that you've played across this play space. Though, it's, oh wait, it's a hold here. This is that crux of the big L shape I talked about at the very beginning. Forcing your way through this corner is in no way easy, but it's a big battle for attrition. There's a C4 underneath, but it doesn't entirely connect. It does drop the man as Bolo is able to take care of Renshiro on the split and make sure that it's not the free pick on Charla, that it could have been a Lems though. Is there. This quick bout of revenge, blow for blow and back and forth, and yes, another moment of waiting. It's so much pressure on someone they know's in the corner. Look at that slip through though. Merc hits the deck, drops to the floor, and gets himself to a new spot of safety.
Just dolphin dive down that hatch. He's like, okay, you're trying to stun me, I'm out. I'm not going to stay here much longer, and that means that library control now has been given away, and it looks like BDS are aware of that as they are looking to take control. Of course, still worrying about potential frost mats to be down there as Shaika now descends these blue stairs, the library stairs, hoping to make an impact, hoping to pick up a big kill here, which would put BDS in an even bigger advantage. But there's only one drone available to them, one drone that they can use with 10 seconds left right now.
Oh, the diffuser down there is the worst blow. They can dig their way through. There's one more man. It's achieved round a corner, and he takes the kill, TSM! Clutch and claw and hold on for one more.
For one more second as well. Too late on the re-swing. They were all cuddled up, the BDS players, but decided to go their separate ways to spread their chances of winning the gunfight, but already down on the ground with the Vector in hand, the high fire rate. It's hard to win these gunfights if you do not know exactly where the head is located. And TSM leading 0-3. It's BDS that is currently trading, and it's BDS that is finding themselves at risk here for their tournament. Could be knocked out here. Could be the first of the two EU teams to go at the end of the day. We want to, of course, make sure that that is not going to be the case, and had no idea where Achieved was, and able to pick up that one. Just not the second, though, because the time ran out before that. Luckily for him, because I'm pretty sure he would have preferred it that way than having to go into yet another gunfight.
3-0. TSM have been able to do their rotation, and to be fair, two of them were scrappy, and the first was a death-defying drive towards the site. Every single round has come down to the wire, and whether it's at the very end, as the previous two have been, or whether it's, as I said in the first round, the Charla backline hold with the double kill that took the round and the success there, it's such a momentous punch that is becoming the dictation of how they've been able to thread themselves in. It's all surmising by this execute, and there's just always one piece of TSM that's falling into a level of success. The Echo drone round, a little bit less on the board, but they put themselves in a good retake. Oh. Well, there's a perfect start. Ranchiro's off the board early. Bolo swinging around and finding some of the pace that he had in the first map as offering this instant countenance, and Shaiko, the man who had the pace in the second, is making sure he keeps up.
There's going to be a sprint race between the two of them now. Who's going to be the one with the biggest game so far? It is going to be Bolo, and TSM that is leading. Not necessarily because any standout player, it's more so that BDS is just lacking a couple of kills all the time in the end of the round. So far haven't been able to lock anything themselves yet. 2 minutes on that clock. Pressure is being put down. They want to go for this top-down approach, and as a shield gets taken out, that's going to be Bolo displaced from his position, but he's not moving completely. He's still holding the angle. He still knows he can challenge this.
Close enough on that Goyo, and as those flames slowly dissipate, he can, if he wants to, get aggressive. But look at the bodies of TSM. They're still underneath. They're trying to do a bit of fact-finding. They have 2 more C4s in pocket as well. Anything that BDS find themselves stuck on for too long can be dangerous. Here's a close window, and there goes Bolo. Achieved needs to try and pull this kill. It's thrown, blown, and gone. Alem slapped off the Solarium window as the sun shines as bright as, well, a pack of C4 explosives does.
Nitro there coming in big indeed. Making sure that Solarium will stay under control just a little bit longer as Shaiko now trying to take control. Spots out of Frostman. Good spot, actually. Nice. Nicely taken care of. Issue now, however, was beautiful bounce as well, just to make sure to get rid of that mute jammer will now happen, and that means the breach can come through. However, there is still these angles that are being watched by the TSM players, and as they fall back into, well, maybe a bit more of an anchor position, BDS find themselves in a tough ask. They need to go for a plant, but they need to do so with barely any control and barely any manpower.
There's one loose player on the back line here of TSM, and, well, they get taken care of now as the swing starts to come round. Achieved wants to step up into the mantle of a trophy, but with 20 seconds, BDS, they're going to try and stick that diffuser. It's how they love to play this game in the 2 versus 2. They have this big angle, they have this idea, but they have that Banshee screaming as soon as they try and enter on this split. It's a cacophony of noise. Shaiko has to try and go big because Charla, he goes bigger. And now it's the swing on the close count. We see Achieve just dip out of there. But TSM find their 4th in a row.
There you have it, and if BDS was being dominant over the last map, then TSM definitely is right now. And as said, they wanted to go for the plant, but they couldn't, because there is still that Banshee that they didn't manage to clear. The grenade caught the mute jammer, but not the Banshee that was still located out there. And as a result, Friday could not just sprint in, could not just go for the plant. He would have been peaked by 2 different angles if he tried. And does had to wait. But does got pre-fired by Charla, waiting around the corner with the 9. Managing to get a big kill there, double kill in the end, to secure the round. And 0-4 current score, TSM. Going back to Master Bedroom, I said it's difficult for a team to chain all 3 rounds in a row, but they have been able to chain 4 in a row here on their defense. 1 on every single site they want to bring in now. Have 2 more to close out a potential flawless half. And that will be a big statement And it would be a big ask and a big task for BDS to try and come back from that.
Yet again, it is that singular or little bit of hardware, little bit of utility, little bit of something special and extra that TSM has on that back burner, that has in those positions where BDS can do all the work in the world. Unfortunately, they can't do it in enough time, and it's repeatedly being punished by TSM. It doesn't really matter, seemingly outside of the first round, what's happening in the opening 2.5 minutes. Because as soon as it comes down to this boil, there is something in the kennels for TSM that comes out and bites at the worst possible bit for BDS. And they are so close, so succinctly close. But they cannot find that last bit and bout of energy to hop the last TSM hurdle.
That's it, they're just not able to get that very final kill. In the very final moments of that round. Twice in a row now we got this close. Shaco's drone gets taken care of. I'm pretty sure he knew there was a frost mat there as it got spotted. Indeed, they have the upside down repel to deal with it. Opening up to get the Banshee as well, that has been located on, and that allows him to move in faster. But there's still these angles that have been created, and I believe there's still Chala that is holding them. And if he does shoot as accurately as he does in the previous rounds, he might be able to pick up a big kill here as achieved. In trench, just holding off. Knows someone is coming and a Claymore gets put down. That is going to be covering off his potential rotation.
But it's given the game away that someone was on those stairs. I think he was expecting it from the garage instead. And with Shaiko being able to get the first now, he's going to have a bit of a drive to head up. He gets past, slips the Claymore and the shackles that it was otherwise trying to offer him. And he's able to get right into the back line in between the two blue bodies. Who catches who first? It's Bowler that goes. And he's in a moment of, well, there's a Lem swung round. There's one more. He's right behind you, and he doesn't quite make it, Mark. Lem's with a very important take, but achieved almost played that pitch perfectly.
He definitely did. He was in range for the knife, I believe, but wasn't able to go for it. Now we see Bride, the man and the planter, ready to go for it. Renshiro goes down, however, very big kill from Merc, and with 60 seconds left, this could be an important one. Still, Yokai drones potentially active. I cannot quite see yet. Yes, there they go. This should be given to BX. Oh, the wallbang! Instead, Merc stops it from happening. Geo couldn't stun him. Instead, the wallbang comes in, and that allows them to try and stall even more so. Rafale now onto the plant. Gets spotted out as well. Merc twice from the same angle. It's just not being challenged. Geo goes down, but Merc! A triple kill, all from the same spot. TSM secured themselves a fifth. This was a BDS round. But Merc from the bathroom. 1, 2, and 3. Different diffuser carriers. Not taken care of.
They tried and tried and tried again to stick it, but it was to their own deficit. They had the eyes on. Whether they knew it or not, the pings were coming through, and the echo was on the board. It wasn't hidden in any sense of the way, and you know you'd played against those drones before. The one wallbang should have given the game away that they're watching. BDS thought that, I guess, TSM would maybe play a little bit more timid. They swung themselves into the bedroom instead and tried to take the fight around the other split and didn't focus the bathroom, and it was just handed to Merc.
It was just handed to him there indeed, and as Geo went down, he went for the aggressive peak, managed to land the shot and secure that round. 5 rounds in a row here for TSM. Not a single one won by BDS, and the shouting continues.
I mean, I could lip read, but I won't repeat what he said. But there's a lot of energy.
PG-18.
It's we're getting our own taste of NAL. We're getting the pleasures of that Las Vegas stage, brought all the way here to Paris, France.
All the way to Palais Brongniart.
And to be fair, I mean, Vegas is looking pretty good. Those shining lights right now are all over Paris. And it's a 5-0 on the board on their defense. BDS, they need to claim 1 to have any breath, any space on their final half, their final setup, maybe the last rounds that they play on this SI during this stage.
Yeah.
They got to try and show a little bit more. It's Bride that's been unable to get off the board.
It is. He's been trying to get these plants down, but he hasn't been able to get a single kill. And every single time he just moves in to get that plant, he gets shut down. He managed to stick it once, but the instant retake was there. Is that a C4 actually 3 placed below the windows there, ready to be detonated as soon as they start moving in? Not quite sure, but Rafala's going to try and angle a grenade right over the edge right here. Is it going to land? No, it will not. That means that the player, I believe it's Bolo, will stay safe. A second grenade will deal a little bit of damage, but not quite enough yet to actually completely remove him. And that's 2 grenades now used of the 4 that they have available to them to try and dislodge him from his position. But he's stuck in here. Both windows are being watched. There's no way he gets out of this. He needs to go for the kills. Otherwise, he will die.
Locked in. Trying to keep himself in a position where he can hold this off for as long as possible. Merc is his cover and his support against the rest of the spread that might come from K9 in the corner over there. But as the first grenade bounces round and doesn't quite have the impact that he wanted, he's concerned of someone going for a swing against him. There goes the Goyo, and there goes most of Merc's health. But look at this. Repositions, hyper-aggressive. Geo goes down, and he went for a hop, but Renshiro was paying attention, and Rafal finds his second for the round. A sudden flood of blood is all over this library corner. They're trying to read the last man in the corner. His rights are all that he might hear echoing around those stunned ears, but it's also Bolo. The C4 pops, doesn't quite catch the man. He knows that the pressure is going to come from one of only 5 different places. Achieved is at least able to offer some countenance, some attention elsewhere. 40 seconds, though, and a sliver of health across the board. It's Shaiko that finds Achieved and leaves. No one left standing. BDS, they clutch 1. They have 1 slip-up on their next defensive half.
And they can afford themselves 1 mistake if they want to bring this to an OT situation. 1 slip-up. But now TSM is on the attack. And 5 rounds on their defense is absolutely incredible. There's no 2 ways about it. It's absolutely incredible here for TSM, what we're seeing. They woke up on this map and they were like, you know what? Let's give them a taste of NAL. And they said, you know, the talks are coming up. I'm wondering if it's being fueled by an Eiffel Tower or a replica of it.
Well, is there an Eiffel Tower inside Vegas?
Yes, there is, because when the players arrived, they made a video and they're like, hey, we're in Vegas. Yeah.
I've never been, but I would love to go.
Never been either myself yet. So, yeah.
There you go.
You wouldn't know.
Okay, enough about our holiday plans. Let's talk about BDS's plans. I mentioned it at the very beginning of this game. Statistically, we could only really pull Chalet as the stats that they've had inside their regional leagues. And in the NA League, it was defender-sided. In the EU League, it was attacker-sided. Not too big. Whenever we quote these stats, don't expect a 5-1 split to be the consistency. What my curiosity has piqued by, as I'm sure it's a lot of people, is the setup now that... Are we in this position because TSM's defense was so much better because it's from the defender-sided region? Or is it that it's defender-sided because their attacks struggle more? The structure and that kind of well-played and placed methodology that comes into NA's attacking style is the reason attackers are struggling, because their attacks take more time to cook.
No, I think they're just good. I think they've just been able to shut down BDS and whatever was being brought there, and able to win out these rounds, maybe even clutch out these rounds as well, because there were a couple of close situations that really should have been going BDS's way. For example, Merc getting a triple kill all from the same spot in the same wall. That shouldn't be allowed to happen, yet it did. And as TSM is now clearing out, they also know 2 more rounds. That's all we need. 2 more rounds. We're finding ourselves a little bit closer to that grand final, a little bit closer into the opportunity of reaching top 4. I believe they will have to go through oxygen if they win this, so only 1 NA team will be able to make it here today. It looks like BDS is on the brink of defeat, on the brink of being knocked out and taken care of, shut down, maybe even sent away from, well, Paris in this case.
Pressure on the piano corner. We've talked about it at length of how it becomes this high focal point of attention for teams to just try and round. It's a battle of attrition as you steadily push them back and make sure you feel like you have a semblance of safety. But with that shield hopped up high, with this body inside box, and with the guns of both these teams being so adept at swinging around, it takes time to cook it to the perfection of tying that taste and getting the first bite of the opponent that's delicious rather than the sour experience of being dropped on the split. Bolo slips past, gets a bit of an impression of someone pushing around as it was from Kitchen, but that wasn't who suffered them. Box is open, and this is a big blow and a big bit of concern. They have a minute to work with. And so far, TSM, this structured approach has worked wonders.
Has been working very well indeed, and now there is the opportunity to try and take that top floor, to try and take office. And as Bolo gets this first kill down onto LMs, it is starting to play out that way. Still playing from below. There's still another roamer to deal with here, and as he makes his presence known, he manages to pick up the kill when Sugar will drop. It is going to be a Chief that drops on the other side though, so it's a 40-second 3-on-4 situation here for TSM. It's plenty of time for them to play this out and reach the match point situation. The question, however, is, can BDS clutch?
It's all that they've been able to struggle with on their executes was that final 20 seconds, and now they've got to try and do the opposite. Popped as Charla swings around the corner. Rafal suffers. Shaiko gets one back with this back line, trying to get it. Rafal with a great take, but 15 seconds, and Shaiko's going close. The diffuser is dropped. He slips past and further away, but he's all that's left at this point. He knows the pressure's coming. He pops and achieved. Pops bigger to put them one round away from sending BDS out of this building.
They might have to get backing after this, but Shaiko almost able to make that clutch happen just due to the lack of information. Had no idea of where he should go. Run out of box or stay in. What we do know is that both these players lined up. If only the first shots would have gone Shaiko's way, he would have been able to maybe pick up both. But TSM are leading. TSM are dominating right now. Showing that they're not ready to go home yet and showing that they are here to stay and fight to get back into a grand final. Because they want to lift the hammer as well. We heard on the desk, both these teams have such storied players.
Oh yeah.
Shaiko and Bolo. And of course, they're not going to be retiring yet, because that was the story that they were being made. You know, you cannot imagine that either of these players will end their career at some point without a hammer lifted.
Yeah.
But one of them is going to go home now. One of them is going to be losing the opportunity of doing it this year and will have to wait to potentially fight back for 2022. And so far, it's looking like Shaiko will be the one that is going to be sent home together with the rest of BDS. Because so far, TSM absolutely in charge. Not a single doubt up here, if you're looking at the scoreline, that they should be able to close this out.
Not to disagree with a coach, because I don't think you ever should. They know their team better than anybody, but at the start of this, if you missed it, there was an interview with Pojo Man pre-recorded, and he was asked who the clown of the team is. And he said, all of them apart from Charla. Charla's a respectable young man.
Yeah,
which is fair.
Exactly.
If anything, Pojo Man, I disagree with you, because all we've seen from TSM today has been stellar, serious business. They're loud, they're vocal, they're having a good time, but they are here to do what they do best. And it is so tough for other teams to deal with, even the ones that have had these huge success and stories, even the ones that are these supposed best of the regions or best of the worlds. When TSM has the cogs whirring, it's a clean sweep. And Coast it wasn't. Coast was BDS showing up, but here it's so hard to argue with the control that TSM's been able to just exemplify over Chalet.
1-6, 2 minutes left. And Europe's last hope of last year's SI is on the brink of being eliminated. They're on the brink of defeat, and TSM is looking strong. They're looking confident. They're looking like they have everything under control right now, and that must be scary for BDS. They haven't used a single tactical timeout, mind you. That means that LMs should be well in control of the team and should be able to bring them back into a rhythm. But if the rhythm is there, but you're still being outplayed by TSM, what can you do as Shaiko starts it off? A great kill onto Geo. This might be what they need to win a round, but is it enough for the full comeback?
Well, look at this pressure that instantly mounts, and there it is. Achieved asked him before what he's doing, and he's found out being killed. There's the swing around,
that is
there's
the nail.
pressure, there is the ult shot, and now is the man advantage. The time for them to press. They're also able to take care of Alems in the meantime, as well as they steady this hand, this mantle of flat control over the top and the verticality. Renshiro wants to put a little bit of pressure back up here from the backside of the stairs, swinging and popping and trying to pick something out. But look at the rotation underneath as well. They have 2 stories of this staircase locked off. They have some presence around Fireplace too, and now they've got the diffuser back up, so it's time to start putting the pedal to the metal. Merc with the spray and Bolo with the pickup. There it is. One more scratched onto the board as TSM close ever closer to another play, and one more for Merc. It's Rafal locked inside. It's a spray, but it's a TSM room, and it is audibly American in the Palais Brognard.
Managing to shut down BDS, who were some of the tournament favorites, went down to the lower bracket first, and as I said, they were Europe's last hope last year, and now they get knocked out. They're out of the tournament. And it's TSM that prevails. It's TSM in that round that manages to succeed, even though the entry kill was there for BDS. The nail in the coffin was sending right with that good night message. They knew what was coming. And as you watch them down here, happy